Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking onto this video, and please don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Alright guys, after I posted my Pink Religion review, I had so many overwhelming demands for you guys to do a comparison video, so that's what we're going to be doing today. I've gone through my entire Jeffree Star Cosmetics palette collection and honed in on every single pink shade so that we can do a direct comparison for you guys. Is it worth it for you to get the Pink Religion palette? Are the colors duped and repeated over and over? Definitely stay tuned to find out. Alright guys, before we jump into the video, I just wanted to remind you again that my entire Pink Religion review is currently out, so if you're interested in anything in the collection, definitely check that out. I will link that up here for you in case you missed it. This has to be one of my favorite collections Jeffree has ever done. I am shook with everything still. But how we're going to do today's video, we're going to do a deep dive, of course, into the beautiful Pink Religion palette. I've pulled out every single Jeffree Star Cosmetics palette that I own that contains a pink, and I really honed in and looked at what was similar here. So we're going to be going row by row. We're really going to be breaking this down and figuring out if we're getting dupe shades and repeat shades. Also, please keep in mind that I didn't go over every single color in the palette, only ones that I found relevant and similar in other palettes. So let's jump right in and get started. All right, let's start with the first row. The first shade here is Princess Crown. Now, I thought this was very similar to the Candy Floss shade in Blood Sugar, as well as the Beauty Sleep shade in Bloodlust. Now, as you can see, neither of these are super similar. If there were two that were similar, it would be the Princess Crown shade and the Beauty Sleep shade. The next shade we're going to be talking about in the first row is called Frosting Cult. Now, I compared this to the Jawbreaker Snack shade you can see here, as well as the Bloodlust Wet Jewel shade. And luckily, they were not dupes at all. They are not repeat shades. All three of these are so absolutely stunning. The next shade we're going into here is Pink Religion. The shades that I found this most similar to were Vivid Mood, High King, and Foreplay. Now, as you can clearly see, the most similar shade we're getting here is between Pink Religion and Foreplay, that one on the end and the one in the beginning. It really does look like they're similar. They could be dupes of one another. They are slightly different when you see them up close and in person, but they do look similar. The next shade for the second row we're going to be talking about is Strawberry Youth. Now, the shades that I found super similar, there was only one, and that is the shade Prick. I thought the way it was really neon and bright, they would somehow be similar. As you can see for yourself, they are absolutely not similar. Strawberry Youth, that first shade swatch there, is clearly a lot more vibrant, and it definitely pulls more pink than the Prick shade that is in the Blood Sugar palette. And the last shade in that third row, we have Sugar Savior. So I found there were several similar shades here. First shade we're comparing it to is Royal Pain from the Bloodlust palette. Then we have the shade Pigment swatched right next to it from Conspiracy. Then we have the shade Tongue Pop from Blood Sugar. And that last one there is Bubblegum from the Jawbreaker palette. And obviously we can see it's most similar to Bubblegum, though it's not an exact dupe. And starting off the third row, we have the shade Prom Night. Now, the shades that I found super similar here, we have Bubblegum, the first one swatched here. The next one is Tongue Pop, and that is from Blood Sugar. And the last one is Pigment, and that is from the Conspiracy palette. I'm not seeing an exact dupe in any of these ones here, though it is similar to the Pigment shade from the Conspiracy palette. The next shade we have in the third row is the shade Diva. And I thought for Diva some super similar shades. We have the first one swatched right next to it, which is Cavity, and that's from the Blood Sugar palette. Then we have the shade Star Power, which is from the first ever Jeffree Star Cosmetics palette, and that would be Beauty Killer. And the third shade we have here is Cherry Wet, which is not similar at all. I don't know what I was thinking. And the fourth shade here, which is, in my opinion, very similar, and that is the Foreplay shade, and that is from Mini Breaker. So Cavity and Foreplay here, in my opinion, really do look similar to the Diva shade that we find in the Pink Religion palette. The last shade in the third row, we have the shade Lollipop Luxe. Now, the shades again that I thought were similar were the shade Cavity, and that is from Blood Sugar, as well as the shade FUCK, which is from Jawbreaker. I don't know why, they were just pulling the same for me. Neither of them look similar at all. The next shade we have is Jeffree's World, and that is the beginning of the fourth row. So the ones I found similar again were the shade Cavity. I also again were finding Foreplay, And the last one here at the end is the shade Pigment, and that is from, again, the Conspiracy palette. Now for this row, it's clear to me that Foreplay, that shade that is in the Mini Breaker palette, is very similar to the Jeffree's World shade. It's not an exact dupe, but it is very, very similar. I doubt that you'd be able to see the difference on the eye. The next shade in the fourth row is Candy Cathedral. Now, I think this is my favorite shade in the entire palette. What I found this to be super similar to was the shade Trisha, that's in the Conspiracy palette, that's swatched right next to it here. Then the shade Cotton Candy, which is part of the Jawbreaker palette. And finally, I had to swatch it next to Pink Magic, of course, which is from the Bloodlust palette. And I am not seeing any similarities at all. Maybe a little bit to that Cotton Candy, but barely. And the last shade in this row is called Pink Fever. And I only saw two similarities here. And that is with the Bubblegum shade from the Jawbreaker palette, as well as the Pigment shade from Conspiracy, that swatch at the end there. I can honestly say these are not repeat shades at all. And in the fifth row, we're going to skip to Holy Fire because I did not see any dupes for Beauty Killer. So first we have the shade Holy Fire. Then next to that, I swatched the shade Flaming Hot from the Conspiracy palette. And then next to that, we have Prick from the Blood Sugar palette. If we're keeping it completely real, that first shade there, swatched Holy Fire, is super similar to Prick from the Blood Sugar palette in my opinion. They almost look like exact dupes. What do you guys think? Definitely let me know in the comments. And for the last shade in the fifth row, we have the shade here, Fashion Faith. And what I found really similar to the Fashion Faith shade was the shade Purple Punch, which is from the Jawbreaker palette. Then next to that, I thought the shade Root Canal was super similar. That's from Blood Sugar. And next to that, we have the shade High King, which is from, of course, Bloodlust. These, honestly, all of them look super duper similar in my opinion. I feel like each one of these can be duped out for the one right next to it. What do you guys think? And moving on to the final row, the first shade we have is Handbag Queen. The shades that I found super similar to Handbag Queen was Not a Fact from the Conspiracy palette, Contraction from the Blood Sugar palette, and Raspberry from the Jawbreaker palette. As you can see here, not one of these colors is a dupe for this new Handbag Queen shade. In my opinion, it stands alone. It's absolutely beautiful, and I can see myself reaching for this shade all the time. Summer, spring, winter, and fall. What a beautiful color. And the next shade we have here is Dollhouse Lin. We're almost done. And what I thought those were similar to, what I wanted to see a swatch of it next to, was Star Power, which we have here. And the next one we have is Cavity. And as you can see here, it is kind of super similar to that Cavity shade. And the last shade here, we have Vatican Vanity. And what I found those to be super similar to was Coma from the Blood Sugar palette, as well as Dungeon from the Bloodlust palette. But as you can see for yourself, they are not even close to similar in any way. All right, guys, as you saw for yourself, a lot of the shades that I thought were going to be similar weren't. A lot of them looked very, very similar, and a lot were extremely different and didn't seem like dupes at all. So yeah, guys, now you know for yourself. If you've been eyeing the Pink Religion palette and it's something that you really want, but you're worried that you already have so much of the shades and you can really dupe it out with what you already have from Jeffree Star Cosmetics, now you know the Pink Religion palette stands as something you need to own. I think he did a really, really good job of trying to differentiate the different colors. Of course, we already have so many pinks, so many reds, so many purples from the collection, so it was really nice to see that there are different. They are like, okay, let's not lie, there were some that were super duper similar, but in my opinion, if you really, really love the color pink, if you really love the brand Jeffree Star Cosmetics, you can't go wrong with the Pink Religion palette. It's absolutely still available, so definitely snag it up if you're interested. The links for everything are down below in case you're looking. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. I really hope it helps you hone in on if you want the palette or not, or if you can just skip out on it. And of course, to answer the question of if we're getting repeat shades over and over, no, we are not. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please give this video a like if you like this style of video. Please leave me a comment down below. And please, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. It really helps me out when you guys subscribe. And I will catch you on the next video. Bye, guys.